Hello everyone, welcome to the studio, the new TV studio of the French Federation of Bodywork on the occasion of this press conference for the 18th edition of SOLUTRANS, which will take us to heights never seen before, of course, in this exhibition. So hello everyone, I wish you all a good day. And I also wish a good day to all our exhibitors and visitors who are online, who are live with us. And that is important because we want to share, I would say, the organization of SOLUTRANS with the entire industry, which allows us to move forward and reach even greater heights in the results of this exhibition. So we will now move directly to the slides. So yes, it's true that we are returning to SOLUTRANS 2023, a historic edition. It was our most beautiful edition in all areas, whether in terms of visitors, in terms of the number of exhibitors, also in terms of countries represented, in terms of journalists present. We had broken all records, including among international journalists. And you will see that for 2025, we have indeed aimed even higher. And that's important. It means we are on a base that is growing exponentially. One thing that is important, I wanted to highlight today all the people who have been working with me on SOLUTRANS for 2 years. To organize an edition of a trade show, it's not as easy as that. So there's the federation part. Since the federation owns SOLUTRANS 100%, so we are here to lead, to conduct the major operations with my teams that you see here. And then behind, there is a whole organization that is present, including the company Comexposium, the company, the Sphere of Possibilities. And all these people work daily for us. And we often have meetings here, of course, with Comexposium. And I can assure you that not a day goes by without us talking or working on SOLUTRANS. And that is of utmost importance. All the people you can see here are 100%, they have SOLUTRANS in their blood. That's why the exhibition is very successful and gaining momentum. And as you saw in 2023, we have an increase in international presence. I want to show you the countries we are targeting. We cannot target all countries when organizing an exhibition like SOLUTRANS. So of course, we have targeted Germany, Spain, Italy, the Netherlands, Poland, Turkey, Belgium, Luxembourg, the United Kingdom. And I will give you some figures. You will see that it is gaining momentum. And then one important thing is during the duration of SOLUTRANS, each day of SOLUTRANS over the 5 days, well, you have 2,200 people working for SOLUTRANS to ensure exhibitors are satisfied with all. Visitors arrive in a warm, welcoming, friendly, and extremely professional and welcoming atmosphere. So one thing that is also important is the manufacturers. You know that for a trade show to be successful, it is necessary for the manufacturers to be present. That is the foundation of everything. Without manufacturers, we can't do much. You see all the manufacturers today who have already signed. There will be others, but we are truly limiting the moment for the simple and good reason that, as you will see, in terms of space, we are really more than limited today. But you have the arrival of Kia, which is really coming with remarkable strength on a very large stand. You have the arrival of Volkswagen, which was not present, remember, in 2023. You have the arrival of Toyota, you have the arrival of Hyundai, you have the arrival of Kinomic. Finally, Jack Motors was there. Maxus is making a much larger stand. In short, everyone is here. And to ensure precisely that there is really great attractiveness for the visitors who will come to the show. I will welcome Beatrice Pla, who is the Associate Director at BDO, who works for us. Beatrice and I have known each other for about 15 years. So, she will say a few words about the economic activity for the end of 25 and also 26. Beatrice.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. So when we look at the figures for the first months of 2025, minus 18% in the market, even worse for tractors. So we say, oh dear, you should know that this drop market 2025 is not a surprise. It was expected since we had announced it at the FFC already since June of last year. And furthermore, the manufacturers had anticipated it. So there will be a market decline effectively this year in France and in Europe. France is not the only country affected. So to understand and put a little bit into perspective, these poor results, which could indeed be alarming at the start of 2025, we must first perhaps ask ourselves a question to know where we come from. The market in France, that's over 5 tons, has just experienced 2 years at 49,000 units. 49,000 units. The reason is that there was a peak in tractors in 2023, a peak in carriers, and when I say peak, it's a historical peak. a peak in carriers in 2024. So overall, 2 good years at 49,000. Why good years at 49,000? This 49,000 is well above the market average. The market average is 46,000 units. We have just experienced 2 years at a high level. We can say it's quite logical. This market that we all know, which is very cyclical, well, at some point it exceeds its average sometimes, and sometimes it falls below. So here we are in a year where we will fall back below its average. So there you go. And then there are also the growth rates we know over the past 2 months, minus 18%. But you will see that starting from July, we will still be in decline, but the rates will be much more moderate because we will be comparing to a year, 2024, whose second half of 2024 was significantly lower. So there you go. But inevitably, there will be a decline this year. So for us, this is really the first element of perspective, where we come from and where we are going. So it's certain that in 2025, the vehicle buyers markets, and here I'm definitely talking about transporters, including but not limited to everything related to consumption, such as the distribution of goods and services, etc. We will be in the first part of 2025, which will be quite sluggish regarding the economic situation, whether in terms of industrial production, construction production, household consumption, but we are gradually in 2025, 2026, things will get a little better. And so there you have it. Even if this year, 2025, will not be prosperous, we will not experience high growth rates. There might even be a slight decline. Once again, in the construction sector, industrial production should hold up. Household consumption will improve a little with the decline in inflation and other factors. So we are rather on a path, let's say, from mid-2025 to 2026, where things will improve. There will be a greater need for transportation in volume. So, moreover, we can say that the conditions for financing vehicles will also improve. Interest rates are dropping and will continue to drop. So there will be fewer difficulties also on the vehicle financing. There will be more activities. So we think that after this year, 2025, when the French market will still go quite below its average, well, it has every chance to, in 2026, to return to its long-term average, or at least get closer to it, in order to gradually and steadily move closer towards achieving that goal over time.
Beatrice, thank you very much. One thing, Beatrice will release the BIP study at the end of March. As we do every quarter, as usual, we don't usually distribute it to you because it is generally reserved for all our members. Exceptionally, this end of March study, we will send it to you because it will allow the profession to take a look at where we are today and where we are going, and especially by type of vehicle. And that's important. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you. So now we will move on to the commercial part of Solutrans 2025. As Beatrice just told you, the activity is not great, but we are used to it, especially us at Solutrans. We have experienced years that were not easy. And I can even say that when the years are not necessarily easy, registrations for Solutrans never been so numerous. So I do not wish us a bad economy, of course, but what I mean by that is that we feel that everyone is in a position to work. The fleet needs to be renewed. So everyone is in their starting blocks. Come to Solutrans precisely to present their best ranges, their best products. And that is incredibly impressive. So remember, in 2023, I told you that the exhibition was fully booked. It was in June. Today, we are in the month of March. We are not fully booked. We are just over 90%. That means we will certainly be fully booked by April, May. So we will be ahead again. And yet we have increased the space. So certainly it's not to the scale I would have wished, since we couldn't get the hall that Eurexpo had promised us. But this new hall, we will have it by 2027, meaning we will have a new hall of 8,000 square meters that will directly extend from Hall 4 that exists today. So I don't know if you can imagine Hall 4, which is already immense, having 8,000 more square meters on the same width. So in depth and everything, it's grandiose. So, and it's for this reason that rebooking this year will have a crucial importance, even more than before, because everyone will have to choose their locations in relation to this new hall. So I emphasize this for the exhibitors who are watching us and the visitors as well, who will be able in 2027 to discover, I would say, a new area large enough to see all the exhibited products. Then we move directly to more than 90% exhibition area, as I mentioned to you. So we have an additional 3,000 to 4,000 square meters this year. So how did we do it? To tell you everything, we simply pushed back the walls. Before we had 3 conference rooms. Now there are only 2, but it's an agora. That is indeed extraordinary. The number of exhibitors as well. I would like to talk to you about the exhibitors. We will see the figures that will be displayed. So the foreign exhibitors, you remember in 2023, we said that the international presence had peaked enormously. And now we are on the same trend this year. It will be even better. So look, for example, China is up by just 104%. Don't worry. There won't be villages of Chinese at SOLUTRANS, absolutely. There won't be. But yes, there will be some. I was going to say that the advantage we have today is that we have limited space, so we can't accommodate them on large areas. So this already allows us to say that we won't have many. We will, of course, welcome them one day. It's the way things are going. In fact, it's the global economic activity that is moving in this direction. So we will welcome them. But if you look at other countries like Belgium, like Italy, like Germany, we have today, as I mentioned earlier, a rapid progression. We had 20 countries represented in 2023, and we are at 21 today. So there is truly a rise in international presence. And very honestly, compared to previous editions, when we talked about it, I was always asked, Patrick, how are you going to handle the international aspect to push them to the maximum? We are getting there. It's our job. It's a foundational work we have been doing for years, and which is truly starting to pay off since 2023. And we can see it in the numbers. So the major theme of SOLUTRANS 2023, we had already talked about it, and I had already mentioned it, is the 180 years of the Federation. We must consider the Federation as an elderly person, 180 years horse era, horse, harness makers, saddlers, and even if the actual anniversary is indeed in November 2024, we are celebrating it in 2025 because it dates back to November 1844. So it's very important to remember this because we are truly at the origin of the Paris Motor Show, UTAC, and all sorts of events that exist, and which are here precisely thanks to the French Federation of Bodywork. So the theme of this 2025 edition will be the 180 years of the Federation, or what we will see a lot, since 1844, to make a bit more of an impression, let's say, on people's minds. Then we cannot organize a good exhibition without having really big partners. It's not possible. And here, so I'll mention them to you for now. There's Michelin, of course, who will be coming soon. A new one arriving is Aramco. Aramco is the largest oil group in the world, coming to SOLUTRANS. We'll just tell you a little more in the coming weeks. For example, it will bring its expertise in the development of synthetic fuel. So we are discussing renewable energies with the arrival of Aramco. And this is a big novelty for 2025, that an oil company like Aramco, the largest in the world, decides to come to the renowned international exhibition, SOLUTRANS. So we will end with the Metropolis. Yes, we will end with the Metropolis. And then Les Koffel, who are our usual partners since they are based in Lyon, of course. They welcome us with great pleasure. So I will now ask Alexandre Gasque from Michelin to come and visit us. Esteemed B2B, B2C marketing director at Michelin, and who will say a few words to us, Alexandre.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, and hello to everyone. Indeed, for Michelin, this is the second consecutive year in a row for which we confirmed the partnership with the FFC. We sincerely want to thank the FFC, Patrick and his team sincerely for all the work that has been done over the past 2 years. For Michelin, SOLUTRANS is the ideal platform to meet the needs of fleet customers, manufacturers, and manufacturers globally. As Patrick mentioned, Michelin is committed to a comprehensive sustainable strategy that reconciles both environmental respect, personal development, and economic performance. This strategy undoubtedly, of course, fits into this rapidly changing world. We talk about new regulations, transformation of the world, and in this regard, Michelin once again will be present at SOLUTRANS. As you know, we develop solutions of tire and service offerings for fleets that are obviously looking for technological solutions, tires with high added value, and we meet those needs. Transitions, we will have them, and Patrick, you mentioned them, with our clients. We also hear about the availability of the workforce, connectivity, zero emissions, to say
that Michelin is also a partner in the transition and sustainable mobility. We invite you to meet us at Solutrans at our stand. You will come to discover the new developments, both new tires but also new offers of services in the ecosystems that we are exploring. And then to conclude, Patrick, this world that is changing, we all have a responsibility as a company in line with the slogan, or at least the tagline, the punchline of Solutrans: energy, climate, ambition, together. Michelin wants to say that we are the partner of sustainable mobility, and we wish to work and continue with you, FFC, on this path.
Great news. See you at... Thank you. Thank you, Alex. You see, when we have such valuable partners as Alexandre and Michelin, it's really a very, very beautiful image for Solutrans. Once again, I truly thank the great company Michelin. For decarbonization, here's what we've done. These are the major themes of our sector today. It's true for 2025 as well as for 23. So clearly, we are going to continue. It's true that the slogan Alexandre just mentioned, being ambitious together, means despite all the difficulties, the constraints of the European Commission, all that, we will succeed. We are all going to be very positive. We will find some solutions to precisely ensure that we achieve the set objectives. So the main challenges, as you can see, are the energy mix. It's the cybersecurity, the European regulatory developments. The CIM might be able to talk to us about that eventually. Then we have hydrogen. So I just want to make a stop on hydrogen. Recall 2 years ago, I was talking about electric. We don't say electric, it's that we try at Solutrans to always highlight a new energy to better introduce it to the entire industry. We don't say we must do hydrogen instead, only electric. No, we are here to demonstrate at Solutrans what the new energies are, where they come from, how we can use them, in how much time, and at what cost. That's our business, to always highlight an energy. Then artificial intelligence. I think we all talk about it today. I believe it's inevitably inevitable. So artificial intelligence, we, for example, here at Solutrans, at the Federation, we will use it simply. That is to say, once this press conference is over, we will translate it into 5 languages. 5 languages, and this press conference will be sent worldwide. That is to say, it will be in English, German, Spanish, Turkish, and Chinese. You see, we've made broad choices. I can't wait to see myself speaking in Turkish or Chinese. It's going to be fun. Then, of course, there are the infrastructures, because with new energies, if we don't talk about infrastructure, it can't work. And that's a big concern today for the entire industry. So the press conferences of the exhibitors. You know, a few years ago when we held press conferences, we had 7, indeed a number that varied, depending on the number of manufacturers. And today there are more and more manufacturers coming that we are really very, very proud of. So we decided to split the press conferences into 3 categories. The VI manufacturers, the VUL manufacturers, and the suppliers. The idea is to avoid confrontations between manufacturers that would be inappropriate. So we try to do our best. Anyway, it's Frederick, who is currently on a plane, who will also manage the press conferences with Comexposium. So I think there will be no issues, but we try to ensure that everyone is in their place and can have the maximum number of journalists at their stand at the same time. That's important, even for you as journalists. You want to see the maximum number of press conferences, the maximum number of new products. And there will be a lot of new products, world premieres at Solutrans this year. To be clear, everything is under embargo, and that's quite normal. I can't talk about it, but I can guarantee you that many, many manufacturers and equipment suppliers have promised me world premieres at Solutrans. It's at our show that they are reserving these big announcements. On Tuesday, as you know, we have the inauguration, which will start at 10 o'clock. The inauguration is always a very, very important moment. This year we decided to innovate, because I always like to highlight the major industrial companies, the large groups that are present all over the world. So I can't talk about it today, but it will be a major leader, an industrial leader who will come to inaugurate Solutrans. The public authorities will certainly want to come to Solutrans. I'm giving Emmanuel Macron his last chance, because this will be the last opportunity. After that, he won't be able to come back. We are also expecting the Minister of Transport, so we'll see how it goes. But we are going to do something, how should I say, something very secure at the same time, since we are going to have a lot of people there on the occasion of this inauguration. So we will make sure that it is really well organized. There you go. We will talk about it again. And you always know that on Tuesday afternoon, we have our big plenary conference. And for the big plenary, I wanted us to make it a space for discussion, not confrontation. We need to talk. We need to talk between the industry and the European Commission. I believe that this is important. With Hervé Rebillon, who is present here, we are going to Brussels. We will go see our friends, the permanent members of the European Transport Commission. And then we will tell them, come to Solutrans. We are preparing a plenary session for you before you, the representatives of the industry who will be there, and a dialogue between parties. Everyone will be able to ask their questions about the objectives that have been set and if they can be revised. I am not the one who will define the questions, but there will be a genuine debate that will take place. There must not be a break between the European Commission and our industry, absolutely not. And this is where I say that Solutrans is valuable, as we are here to ensure that forces come together to find solutions during these difficult times that are fair. And that is the most important thing for all of you. We are going to do it in a new space. I will tell you about it. So the floor you see here is actually truly the floor now of the Place des Lumières at Eurexpo, which has been completely redone. And so I don't know if you remember the FFC stand 2 years ago or 4 years ago. It was like a large bunker of sorts. And here we wanted to completely open it up. So you have a part that you see with a circular path around it that will allow, when there are a lot of people, for people to stand and attend each of the conferences. On the right, you have a true VIP lounge, which we didn't necessarily have until now. In the middle, it's the FFC stand. And then on the left, since we're in the media, we have the radio 107.7 FM live. And then behind, we have the TV studio that will precisely move to Solutrans to ensure, to film, to see what Solutrans is, and to come back with beautiful images, beautiful emotions, well, at the same time. So there you go. You see, we're giving a new look to this central space, but also to the FFC stand, and also to the look of the parent company as well, in a way of Solutrans. There is also the technical conference. For that, I will call Didier. I will ask you to come, since Bruno Martin is not here. Our technical director had a small issue to come and explain this conference that will take place at Solutrans, which will be intended for all equipment manufacturers and bodybuilders. Since you know that with Vector or GSR2, there are a lot of discussions at that level. So we want to hold a huge conference precisely to help restore a bit the balance, to put it clearly.
So you've almost said it all.
No, Didier, there are indeed many other things to say.
The topics are indeed very current with GSR2, as we noticed during the regular FFC technical commissions we conduct. We notice there is a strong demand for advice, quite simply, to know how to proceed with respect to GSR2 among the manufacturers, dealers, suppliers and equipment manufacturers. It's very complicated. So we are here to try over time to help all our members. And thus on that day, the entire sector will be able to attend this commission, this conference. So GSR2 is one of the topics, but it's not the only one. And then our regulatory monitoring service is also increasing its lobbying efforts. So we will also have feedback to provide a comprehensive update to the entire audience on the progress made, particularly with the DGAC.
Then we also invite LCV manufacturers, HCV manufacturers to be present as well on that day at this conference, because there is truly a very, very important relationship indeed between these two professions.
Vector trailer is also a current topic. There are many other topics like this, so we will thoroughly prepare this conference and we will try to answer all the questions. It was already very comprehensive in the previous edition, this conference. We will give it a larger place in the conference center of FFC. Thank you very much.
You are literally perfect. Well, I am calling my master of ceremonies, my conference master now officially, Hervé Rebillon, which, as you probably already know. So there you have it. So I'll let you start off, and then we'll see who we invite, just like that, see that.
Yes, gradually. So hello everyone. I will be quite brief about the conferences. You know the concept at SOLUTRANS. We are always on major current topics, even pioneering on certain themes. We will talk more about the energy mix indeed, because as Patrick said, the goal is not just to talk about one solution, one energy, but several energies. We will discuss it in a moment. So on the first day, there will be the plenary session. Patrick mentioned it a moment ago. There will also be a first conference in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, which will be the conference of the SIAM. And to talk about it, I will therefore ask Athena Argyriou, who is the Deputy President of SIAM, to join us and talk to us about the theme, well, of the Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics. There you go.
My dear Athena, Patrick, thank you very much indeed. Hello, everyone. Hello to all of you, everybody.
So the big SIAM conference. So the first day then at SOLUTRANS, making decarbonization a lever for sovereignty and innovation for the heavy industry, the industrial vehicle sector. This will be the main theme in any case of this conference from 4 to 5 o'clock on the first day, Tuesday, right?
Indeed, as Patrick clearly explained at the opening of this conference, we live, we breathe, indeed. Okay. So, decarbonization is part of our daily life, professionally, politically, economically, in various ways. And we are all actually waiting for the results of this decarbonization. So, sometimes we hesitate. We have doubts, perhaps. We don't know how to choose. We would like to take the opportunity of this conference to show you what we have already achieved. Everything that this movement we started 2 years ago has been able to bring to our economy and our daily lives. We will start with the industry. We will see how this industry has transformed, created work, jobs, not only in Europe, but also in our territory. We will invite our president to talk to us about his Ascania factory. We will call our members at Daimler to talk to us about the transformations planned or perhaps already implemented. In Ligny-en-Barrois, we will actually look at how the transport and logistics sectors have transformed. They have seized this opportunity to find other logistical models. So we will say everything we have already achieved and draw inspiration to be able to transform what seems today like a small constraint into an opportunity. In all our professions, in our daily lives, that's what we propose to you.
So it will be the first day. There will be, I think it's not working. It will be the first day. There will be all the makers, industrial vehicles, right, Athena?
Yes, everyone will be there, all the members of CISIAM, all the manufacturers, so I can list them. We will have Scania, we will have Daimler, we will have Iveco, we will have MAN, we will have DAF, we will have Ford. Am I forgetting someone, Marie, please? What have we forgotten? MAN, I mentioned it, MAN, of course, a member of the board of directors. There you go. And there you have it. We will all be there to support you.
I must point out that CCM made a tremendous effort to be at the first conference on Tuesday afternoon. I confirm.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you to you. So see you on the 18th. So to quickly talk about the other themes, on the first day, Wednesday, we will have a symposium on hydrogen. As we were saying, the goal is not to talk about only one energy with the collaboration of France Hydrogen. So we are preparing this major conference, as we will have almost 2 hours of major conferences on hydrogen. The goal of this conference, of this meeting, is to bring together the main current players in hydrogen. So even though manufacturers are more focused on electric, it's true, but also on hydrogen, as we will have vehicles, not only prototypes, but pre-series, such as which will be displayed with certain manufacturers. We will therefore have an FFC conference. Patrick mentioned it a moment ago. We will have an afternoon meeting, the energy transition. So the goal is to address the three angles: technological, usage, and financial. So both technological, knowing today where we stand on the different energies. Therefore, we will talk about electric, hydrogen, and also, very importantly, biofuels. The usage aspect in operations within companies, especially in transport, and the financial aspect. As you all know, there is also an evolution of new modes and financial proposals, solutions, precisely with manufacturers, among others. And then we will also have on this first day a CNR conference 2 years ago on the operating costs of road freight transport, the 2025 report and 2026 outlook. And I will therefore ask Alexis Giret, director of the CNR, to come and talk to us a little about it. Hello, Alexis.
Hello, Hervé. Hello, Patrick. Thank you for this invitation. Hello, everyone. Yes, already for 2 editions now, indeed, SOLUTRANS chooses to invite the CNR. The National Road Committee is the economic observatory of the road transport market for goods and passengers. And it's a key moment in the life of many companies, particularly in road transport. At the end of the year, this context of tariff negotiations, among the missions of the CNR is to provide support that is free, public, and comprehensive, and to make the assessment of the past year. Here we will discuss everything that happened in 2025 and how it translates into cost evolution. And then we also make forecasts for the coming year. We do it in the most objective way possible. We want to be as much as possible useful for the market, that is to say the carriers, and their clients, which we call shippers. There are also the suppliers who are very present. So suppliers of carriers who are obviously very present at SOLUTRANS. The manufacturers, the equipment suppliers, are also attentive to how they are perceived. So really, we provide simple, concrete figures on the inflation of road freight transport, one might say. And it's certainly an independent report, but it is indeed a support for negotiation.
Thank you, Alexis. See you in November in 9 months. Is that right? 8 months? 8 months? For very quickly on the continuation of the conferences. On Thursday, we will have a conference in the morning on understanding and analyzing the rise of zero-emission trucks in Northern Europe in particular. In fact, we wanted to see a little bit why it was working much better in countries, why there were many more registrations and sales, especially of electric trucks or utility vehicles. We will have some details, particularly on certain countries like the Sweden, Norway, and also other countries like, among others, Germany. This will include manufacturers, operators, and also, although it remains to be confirmed, a major city from Northern Europe will come to explain to us a little bit the why and how, why it does not ban heavy trucks. It opens the city to heavy trucks, mainly electric. We will also have an experimental conference on Thursday on artificial intelligence. Already present in transport, it is also evolving. We will have 3 companies coming live in total to experiment with 3 AI solutions. For example, in fleet management, I can't tell you everything. You'll have a company that will come for that. There will also be ones on security and operations. When I say live, I can still give you an example, a company that will come and we will try to demonstrate technologies that already exist and allow ordering a product that will arrive before the end of the conference. And all this with AI, which we have been able to test. And so we will speak with an artificial voice. We will also have a conference on sustainable development in the afternoon, retrofit, regeneration, recycling, how to improve the value of one's vehicle, one's own vehicle. We still have, this will be for transporters. And then in the afternoon on urban logistics. And finally, the last day, Friday, the last day in any case, for the conferences, a plenary session. Now that's the first day. I'm getting a little confused. So there will be a conference on infrastructure, on everything related to electric charging, so on Friday afternoon. We will also revisit in the morning the connected solutions and artificial intelligence, but we will go a bit further, especially on autonomous and automated vehicles, because fogs currently exist on onboard trucks, and we will also have a really important conference on tires covering everything related to sustainable development. I have asked Dominique Stempfel, who is the president of the Tire Union, to join us to talk about it. I don't know where Dominique is, so that's it for all the conferences of the week. Dominique, a word about the conference on tires.
Thank you, Hervé. Hello, everyone, indeed. For about 30 years, the tire industry has been committed to an eco-responsible approach that is accelerating very, very rapidly. The competition among the major manufacturers is absolutely fierce, but it's encouraging for the planet. During this conference, we will address 4 topics. The first topic involves currently working on the essential raw materials part, since the components manufacturers have set a goal for 2050 to eliminate all raw materials derived from oil. The second element, which we will indeed discuss more and more, is the spread of microplastic particles resulting from tire wear. It should be noted that a heavy vehicle on an entire set of tires, heavy truck tires, emit 200 kilos of microplastic into the environment. How can we limit the spread of these microplastic particles? The third topic, which is a very important one, is the subject of retreading, since the current trend is contrary to the ecological sentiment, as transporters are retreading less and less. So we absolutely need to find a way to counteract this unfortunate trend. And then the last point is, what do we do with used tires? How do we recover the raw materials to re-inject them into new tires? In this case, we close the virtuous circle of tires as we envision it by 2050. There you go.
With great pleasure, it is. Thank you, Dominique. Of course, we will talk about the regulations. There is an evolution. Just 2 last words about the conferences. They will always be translated into English, since we already know that we will have quite a few speakers, European speakers. There will be some small changes. You will see during the conference that there will be QR codes that will allow the public and you journalists to retrieve documents live, and it will be, I believe, still live. You will also be able to retrieve the recorded conferences later. And then one last thing. We are 9 months, 8 months away from the event, and out of the 13 conferences, some are already full. So it's going very fast.
Just to add one thing, we have deliberately decided to reduce the number of conferences because we realize that at an event, people want to visit the event above all. And that's important. For the rest, we are going to put in the effort to ensure there is a maximum number of people. That is to say, something we didn't do until now is that we didn't have advance registrations, and we realized that some visitors came one day on Tuesday or Wednesday to see a conference, but they didn't have the time. Now they will be able to plan their visit to SOLUTRANS a little based on the conferences they want to see. This is a request we received, so we are going to do it. There will be, with ComExposium, I would say, calls for registration so that everyone can register for each of these conferences. It's important because when Hervé holds these conferences, it's an enormous task. These are topics that are crucial for the industry. And I believe that the speakers who come deserve to have a full room automatically as well. It's the respect we owe to the people who come to help us in all these conferences.
I am available to journalists to have more details on the topics and also about the speakers, because I know it can give you ideas for your articles.
Absolutely, certainly.
I think I've covered all.
Well, listen, it's perfect as usual. Thank you, thank you. We will now move on to a topic that is very important and significant, which is the hydrogen village area part, since it's somewhat the common thread in new energies as we are holding a conference on hydrogen. I think it was necessary to have a hydrogen village with certain players who are truly specialists in the field and who are experienced and who can, I would say, inform visitors about what hydrogen is, how it works. That's what I mentioned earlier. There will be about 15 specialized exhibitors with the support, of course, of France Hydrogen. Hyundai will indeed be present, Toyota next to this village as well, to ensure that the visitor's attention is captured by this new energy. Be careful, I'm not saying it's an energy that will work. I'm saying we are presenting it. And then it's up to the manufacturers, the users, to say, yes, we will take it, and then we will do it. I think it's important. But once again, our role at SOLUTRANS is to say, the hydrogen village must exist and it must provide you with the maximum technical information. Then the cargo bike space, do you remember, it was very successful in 2023, but if you had told me in 2019, 2017 that I would put bikes at SOLUTRANS, maybe we'll put tanks in 2027, I don't know, I'm joking. But well, we're always a little surprised by the pace at which the activity is going. So the cargo bike space, The track this year will definitely be outdoors for several reasons. We're lacking space, as I mentioned to you, and the track is expanding at the same time. We had a big problem, so we're going to make it outdoors. Like the test track for the HGVs or the LCVs, that's a new track that we have revised and corrected compared to the first edition, and which will allow, I would say, for truly full-scale tests in a way. It's a track that will attract attention because it will be located next to the arrival of the tramway at Eurexpo, so people who arrive by tram or by car simply from the parking lots will be able to simply directly see this track outside. Once again, when organizing a trade show, there needs to be readability and visibility at the same time. That's important. Then the outdoor track for the VIVU will be identical to what we did in 2023, meaning a large indoor track and then the 50 kilometers outdoors, which will still be relevant since the prefecture has given us permission again to conduct these tests outdoors. Conversely, like also to what had happened, we had made, remember, some sort of bungalows where everyone could rent bungalows. Now we are going to set up a large tent where everyone will be able to use a desk inside this tent. And I think we are really seeking conviviality at SOLUTRANS where everyone gathers under the same tent to conduct the tests with those who want to do it, the manufacturers. I think that it's a plus. And then we will arrange it in a really pleasant way as well, so that everyone wants to come and do tests. And we are going to organize with Comexposium to ensure that there is, how should I say, a better relationship between the manufacturers and the track, so that those who indeed want to do tests can truly know at what time, which brand, and with what type of vehicle. So one of the big new features this year of this edition is the Universe VUL and Retail Village. It's a village of 500 square meters. I'm going to ask Julien Leclerc, who is the founding president of Les Fédérateurs, to come and present the exceptional setup that will be put in place. So, Julien, you have a bit more time than everyone else.
I was told 2 minutes.
No, just a bit more.
It's okay. Thank you. That's kind. First of all, I want to say that I'm honored by the spotlight. That's very kind. We are delighted, of course, to support SOLUTRANS. We are delighted that the effort of several years to win you over, to say to you, let us, we have plenty of things to do, has finally worked, and that you accepted for the VUL and Retail Village to come to life. First, just a word about what Les Fédérateurs, the Fédérateurs are. A company created by Universe VO, which is a community dedicated to the players and the value chain of the automotive distribution of passenger vehicles. For several years, we have observed with the entire team and all the players who already make up this value chain and this community that there was a lot to be done in the LCV sector and that it was a market with huge opportunities. And this village is coming to SOLUTRANS on this trend of distribution, this trend of remarketing around the light commercial vehicle. And among the profiles of partner exhibitors that you will find in this village, we will find players in supply, players in the logistics chain, players in the preparation and enhancement of vehicles, but also players in additional services of margin, everything they do and everything that makes up the core of the challenges for distribution players. We are really focused on this part. I heard you rightly talk about expanding, growing the inspect nomenclature a bit. That's where we come in. There is a word that is very dear to us and which for us is what makes the soul of the villages, it's conviviality. And what we wanted to achieve, why we positioned ourselves, why we wanted to come to SOLUTRANS and why we are delighted that you said yes is a trade show with a high ROI. And our community follows the dynamics and events when in the end there is an ROI. Today, trade shows are at a turning point, and events of this size can only work if after the trade show everyone has gained a benefit. It's no longer just an opportunity for visibility, it's also a business space. So the village consists of about 15 to 20 participants for this year, for the first edition. I have roughly explained the profiles you will find there. There are events in the village. We also have a TV studio where we organize roundtable discussions about distribution of light commercial vehicles. We will also find presentations. The attendees will introduce themselves, highlight their products, and showcase their solutions in front of an audience. And the principle of the village, as we said, is conviviality, and we set up the entire system and process for our exhibitors to ensure them a ROI at the end of the 5 days that the exhibition represents. That is to say, we take care of setting up the stands, as we mentioned, the activities, but also things that are quite time-consuming, that can usually hinder participation in a trade show. It will simply be, we take care of catering, we take care of the security service, etc. It's really all these aspects that we manage in the village. It's a turnkey participation in a trade show like SOLUTRANS. So I've almost said just about everything. You were thorough, I feel. The program is coming soon. We will also announce the exhibitors soon. We are going to create a landing page on our site dedicated to our participation in SOLUTRANS, and we will bring all the energy that characterizes us and also all the energy that characterizes this market, which is growing. And as we know, I also see, and we saw the figures with BDO, our figures in this remarketing area are a little more positive than for new vehicles. We will try to bring that as well to SOLUTRANS, this energy, this enthusiasm. There you go. And thank you again for this invitation.
We will now wait for this meeting. With great anticipation and a sense of eager excitement, we look forward to the upcoming event, feeling the thrill and joy that comes with the promise of new experiences and opportunities. As we continue the presentation, so employment training, this is a topic that has persisted for several editions. I was to say that 6 or 8 years, SOLUTRANS has truly highlighted training. In this regard, I remind you that for the past 3 editions, we have invited, at the expense of the Federation, 2,000 to 3,000 students who come directly from various regions all over France. So we cover all transportation, food. It's simply to introduce these young people to the profession, the trade, why we are severely lacking in workforce. And we don't know what the future holds. So it allows us a little to create vocations, and we receive positive feedback from the various schools we invite. There are some young people who go into the field or who might go into aeronautics at some point, but we guide them towards the industry. We make them understand that it's a goal that can indeed be very beneficial for their future. And so the second part we will have in terms of training is the PFA as well, which is coming in strong. The PFA, I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's something exceptional that will be implemented. The PFA will conduct a sort of Tour de France to encourage young people to join the sector. And the start of this Tour de France will take place at SOLUTRANS. And there, 1,000 young people will be invited by the PFA. And it will be an exceptional event. So to be transparent, up until now, the PFA hasn't told us everything yet, but there might be a sort of job dating happening at the same time. France Travail will be there. In short, everything is being done to make it a real success. There will be 20 to 30 stages throughout France. So there you go. We are trying by all means, with the PFA being truly one of our partners who wants to do things on a grand scale so that it ultimately benefits the sector and our federation the most. So now, the Innovation Awards. You remember for 2 editions we did this at the Groupama Stadium. It was a real success because it's true that the stadium was graciously made available to us. It was nice and all. And I wanted to change the venue. This year, because it's the Federation's 180th anniversary. And back then it was about horses. So you might say the connection is really easy here, but I find it nice. Everyone loves horses after all. We're doing it at the Lyon Racecourse, which is located 10 minutes from Eurexpo, so no further than the Groupama Stadium. So with really parking that's very easy to access. So it will be great. We don't want to reveal too much today, but there will be entertainment. It will be really nice. There will be, horses will try to have carriages. In short, find something that somewhat recalls the 180 years of the Federation. So, in this regard, since it's the 180 years of the Federation, and since these are the Innovation Awards, I wanted to establish a new special award for 180 years of the Federation. And this award, we will present it to the Belliot Foundation. I believe that the Berlier Foundation has been working tremendously for the profession, for the industry for decades. We are presenting them an award, and I think it is well deserved considering what these volunteers do for the most part. We must not forget that. So it's about highlighting them. And they ensure the preservation of the heritage of this remarkable industry. That is us. So it's a great reward that we are going to present to them, that we are going to present to them. And in return, we will have vehicles that will be showcased throughout the exhibition, both during the innovation awards and at the gala dinner. And then we'll see, we are trying to find places that allow us to display certain vehicles. So you see, for the innovation awards, we are keeping the same categories. We're not changing them, as there are already quite a lot, but it has become something important. I think that one will be able to submit their applications as early as April. So early April, the submission of applications. There were a lot in 2023, so I hope there will be even more. And then we noticed that the quality was really increasing significantly. So that's a significant fact. Now, let us carefully and thoroughly focus on the event. We had tremendous success, I would say, in 2023. With Patrick Bruel, you saw all those ladies rushing to the stage. So it was very popular, and everyone told me, what are we going to do in 2025? Finding someone who is equivalent to Bruel and can hold for an hour and a half is difficult, or else we have to look in the United States, and that's no longer within our budget, that's clear. However, we have a clientele, visitors who come from all over the world. So we had the very ambitious idea of bringing the Paradis Latin to SOLUTRANS. So the entire troupe of Paradis Latin, the singers, the dancers, and it's their director who will be in charge. So Kamel Awali, who could have come here this morning, I had asked him, but unfortunately he has a shoot, but he will do a live session soon to present all of this to us. However, today I have our star of the day, Bernard Buffard, who is presenting the gala dinner with me, who is here, so he will talk to you about the scenography, he will talk to you about Kamel Awali, and more about the event.
So indeed, hello everyone. Indeed, a show between musical and revisited cabaret, since Kamel Awali needs no introduction. Kamel Awali is, of course, known for the great musicals in France, The Ten Commandments, Cleopatra, Gone with the Wind, The Sun King. So since 2019, he has taken over the artistic direction of the Paradis Latin. And he creates and choreographs all the shows of the review. So we will have the pleasure of welcoming the entire troupe singers, talented dancers, of course, under the brilliant artistic direction and staging of Kamel. In a setting, we have prepared a scenographic setting designed by François Garcia, which will allow us to welcome not only the guests, but also the show, which this year will not only be on a stage, but will be throughout the entire room. So the show will be broadcasted and the artists will perform as close as possible to the guests, with a real interaction between the show and the guests. Not forgetting, of course, a special staging for the vehicles of the year, whether it's the truck, the van, or the pickup. And then we will obviously have several references to the 180th anniversary of the Federation, as Patrick mentioned, with original stagings, featuring both the vehicles and historical media, but also all the artists and performers from the troupe of the renowned Paradis Latin, once again in this staging by Kamel Awali.
We try to step up each time. I must say one thing, which is that it's a gastronomic dinner that has become a reference in the world of professional entertainment in Europe. It's 1,400 guests, I repeat, we can't go any further. We haven't opened the service for reservations yet, but we already have 300 seats reserved. It's accelerating. Growing speed, but there, I think we're going to have a grand show, because the show will start as the guests arrive.
Exactly.
There you go, and not like a concert at 10:30, for example.
Yes, we will have the show throughout the dinner, and there's also a show on the plates, since it's Jean-Paul Pignol's team, Meilleur Ouvrier de France, who is preparing this gastronomic dinner with a particularly well-paired food and wine selection.
That we will choose.
Exactly.
Thank you, Bernard. Next part, so let's move on to the Thursday night event. Regulars know, since the last editions, Thursday is a day when you can't move around in the aisles. It's the day with the most people. You've seen me. I move around a lot in the aisles. I go to see a little bit of all the exhibitors. And whether it's the visitors or the exhibitors are disappointed to see us close the doors at 6 o'clock day, because there are still many people at the stands. And we said within the federation, we said we're going to have an evening opening. So we will have this evening opening until 10 o'clock on Thursday. That means the doors of SOLUTRANS will be open for visitors until 10 o'clock. It will be a normal opening. Instead of 6 o'clock, it will be 10 o'clock, okay? The goal is to ensure that until 7 o'clock, people continue their business as usual with the exhibitors, the visitors, and then afterwards, I'm not saying it will be a carnival. That's not what I mean, but from 7 o'clock, we want it to really be about conviviality. Julian mentioned conviviality. And there, I want a very great conviviality that evening in all the stands, in the aisles, a little bit everywhere. So this atmosphere will be provided by the FFC, by Comexposium, by SOLUTRANS. In the aisles, we already have some little surprises that have been planned. We can say there are things that are being organized. So it's really going very, very fast. However, we also ask the exhibitors to bring some entertainment to each of their stands. If they want to have a DJ, let's have a DJ. If they want to have an orchestra, it doesn't matter. But we need to have a very great conviviality. And I think it gives an extra soul to the exhibition at the same time. And you know that good deals are generally also made in conviviality. Let's not forget that. And this is something that can leave a lasting impression. It needs to be an evening event. That is truly very positive for the industry. Now, I'm not speaking for SOLUTRANS itself, but for the industry, once again, I repeat, because you have people coming from abroad, coming from various provinces of France, and who also need to meet, because many professionals only meet at SOLUTRANS every 2 years. So if we can give them an extra moment of happiness, so I remind you, Tuesday evening, Innovation Award, Wednesday, the gala dinner, Thursday, the evening event. I already have exhibitors who say, I used to on Thursday, to take my teams and clients outside of Lyon to restaurants. Well, we will do it that evening at our stand. So there is a little great enthusiasm from the exhibitors for this Thursday evening, right? And then those who might want to stay open until midnight, there will be a small additional cost that we will charge them, because there are extra costs for the firefighters, security and everything. No problem as well, right? There you go. We try to be as accommodating as possible so that everyone can benefit under the best conditions. And if they need help to find a DJ, to find a band, we will give them a list. I was going to say of artists that we will make available to them and they can book. There you go. An artist or a group, it doesn't matter. We will help them in that area, because it's not necessarily easy when you're not from Lyon. You don't necessarily have connections with artists who are available locally. There you go. So you see, we try to make SOLUTRANS a show, I repeat, super professional, but super friendly at the same time. I think that's the success of a show. Today, I've been doing shows for 30 years. I can guarantee you that if one doesn't go well, the show doesn't work. So we are going to step up even more for this edition.